Hi, everyone, and welcome to Women Talk Construction. I'm Angela Gardner, one of your co hosts, joined by my incredible friend and co host, Christy Powell. Hey, Christy.
Hello.
So, we're sitting down today and we're talking to Giovanna Carchidi, and she is with Kohler, and she is part of the special episode edition sponsored by Trimble. We're excited to partner with Trimble, whose support is helping us amplify the voices of women in construction with their tagline, Stronger Together, ringing true every step of the way. Giovanna's story as a woman in the construction industry is truly inspiring, and we are taking a deeper dive into it today. Building off the amazing feedback from our Women in Construction Week podcast with AJ, we're exploring 5 topics that not only showcase her impact, but also prove this industry needs women every day, not just one day a week. From career paths to mentorship, this episode is all about empowering women to see construction as their space. So, ladies, let's dive in and get inspired. Giovanni, welcome. And maybe just give our audience a little bit of background about yourself, and then we're going to dive into the questions.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Christi and Angela, for having me here to tell my story and talk about my journey. My name is Giovanna Carchidi. I am the National Sales Manager for Projects, so that's Multifamily and Hospitality for Kohler Company. I manage our projects business nationally. So I manage a team of business development managers all across the country that work with the largest multifamily developers and hospitality ownership groups to specify and use Kohler products in all of their different various types of builds. So I'm happy to be here today.
Super cool. I
Awesome.
know we're excited to have you.
So, what's really exciting about this episode is that Trimble is really passionate about making women in construction a year round mindset.
Yep.
And as we start today, Giovanna, you've inspired a lot of people with your journey, especially me, and our listeners are going to love what you have to talk about today. But they also loved our Women in Construction Week episodes, which Trimble helped us with EC from Clemson University. So, how do we, from your perspective, how do we keep that energy going all year round? And is there a success story from your Kohler projects that shows women why they belong in the industry every day?
So this is a great question and one that I'm super passionate about. And I think, how do we demonstrate and women, or demonstrate that women can thrive in this industry and make women in construction more normalized and an industry standard, is through platforms just like this one, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I commend you and Angela for investing the time and the energy and the effort to take this on and to bring other women in the construction industry to this platform where we can leverage the power of storytelling, and we can normalize what we do, and we can inspire other young women that are still trying to find their path in the world, to come
Yes,
join us, because we need
Mhm.
more of us.
we
And
do.
we are succeeding and we are thriving, and we're killing it. And we need a million more Giovanna, Angela, and Christie's in the world, right? And
Yes.
all the other fabulous women that you've hosted over the last 3 years that the two of you have been doing this. So challenge to all the women in the construction industry out there: grow your network, tell your story, and inspire
Hmm.
others. Um, this one is a challenging one for me to narrow it down. I have so many amazing stories in the 8.5 years that I've been in this industry working with Kohler in various different roles. But one story that really rings true to me, and I think can resonate with others, is many years ago when I was the local Philadelphia sales rep, responsible for projects, hospitality and multifamily in the city of Philadelphia and surrounding areas. There was this amazing, iconic, historic old building in the city of Philadelphia, right in the center of town, that was going through a massive renovation, and it was adaptive reuse and was going to become a hotel. a very luxury hotel. And because I loved the building so much, I wanted to be part of this project like no other. I
get
fought
it.
harder than I think I've
I
ever
get it.
fought to win a project, and I lost. I lost the
Oh,
project. And
that's
it was
okay.
right. And so what I love about this story is that there is power in failure, right?
Mhm.
And I like to highlight and talk more about my failures, because if I give myself the courage to fail, but wake up with the desire to succeed, I'll continuously grow. And the
Yes.
second I don't have that fear of loss, then I'm stagnant, right? So
Yes.
in without going through all the boring details, right? Because I love a detail. I live in the details. Essentially, what happened is I lost on price, and I lost this project because of price. And I'm typically not, price driven. I'm service driven, value driven, right? And and
Absolutely.
Mhm.
and I'm competitive, right? So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
right. So um, I had done all the right things. I had connected with all the right people, the architect, the designer, the GC, the engineer, the mechanical contractor. Like, I had done all the things and I lost. So 8 months after I lost, I get a call from the owner's rep saying, "Hey, G," because that's what, people who know me now, right? Like, everyone just says, "Hey, G." And we have a really big problem. Are you around? Do you think you can come meet us on the job site? And I said, "Yeah, what's the problem?" They're like, it's too big to discuss. Can you get there this afternoon? If not, like, let's schedule some time. I was like, "Yes, I can get there this afternoon." So I went onto this job site, and this was a very, very large, massive renovation with a really big price tag, because it was going to be a very high-end luxury hotel.
Mm.
So they are 95% done construction. And when that hotel flag came in to say, like, did this renovation meet all of the performance requirements and the brand standard requirements to be able to call it XYZ Hotel, right? They failed. And they
Mm.
failed because the cheaper option did not have a hand shower in
Ah,
each of the showers and tub showers in every single guest room. Me understanding my business, knowing my business, and knowing what all the brand standards were, had those extra parts and pieces built into my package.
nice.
My competitor, who did not know their business as well as I did, that won that job based on price, failed. And everybody in the process failed to recognize this gigantic miss. So now we're in this beautifully renovated hotel that is scheduled to open, and they cannot open because they cannot meet the requirements from that brand.
Mm.
So I go on site, and there's an entire team of project managers from the GC. There's all different types of tradespeople there. The owner's rep is there. There's an army of construction industry experts and me, the only
An
female in the room,
army.
right?
Yes.
An army,
Yes.
right? And so I walk into the space, and I immediately notice, and it immediately jumps out at me without anyone having to tell me, there's no hand shower in here. And they're like, they all turned to me and they said, "Oh, so you understand our challenge now?" And I was like, "Why is there no hand shower in here?" Right. And then
Yes.
I graciously reminded everyone, had they chosen my package that did have all the parts and pieces, they would not be in the situation that they're in now, where they're now looking at, can we take down this wall and that wall and add more piping and more valving, or do we have to break through tile, right? They
Mm.
spent a couple $100 million on this renovation at this point, and they
Mm.
cannot open. So instantly I say, why would you ever do that? No, here's what we can do. And they were all looking at me like I was an alien. And they were like, who is this lady? Right. And
Yeah.
so I came up with a creative solution on how I could save them millions of dollars and months of delayed reconstruction and delayed opening, right? Which the owner really cares
Yeah.
about, because he needs to start making money out of
Yeah.
the building,
Right.
right? And
Every day costs money.
every day costs money, especially when you're in, a city that is heavily driven by like union tradesmen and women, and it becomes even more expensive, right?
Right.
So I come up with this solution very rapidly, and for me it was a nice little add-on sale, right? Like
Yeah.
not a lot of energy, right? But I was able to create a solution for them, and they were all baffled how I was able to do that in 30 minutes or less. And within 2 days, they had an order placed and they were receiving material, and they were in there and they were retrofitting and they were making that thing work. And
Nice.
they opened on time, and it was the advocacy and the credibility and the loyalty that I gained from that entire network of people involved in that one problem, where, they've paid dividends for years and years and years. So had I not come in with a completely different, fresh perspective, right, and brought, some insight to the conversation, like maybe that wouldn't have happened. And I think that that's something that, I'm not the expert. I'm not a plumber, right? I don't,
Right. Right.
like I don't know how to construct 52-story buildings, right? But I can help solve problems, and I can help drive solutions. And I think that is what women naturally do. And so without being an expert, I still was able to provide value. So I think that was one of those things that I walked away from, like, not knowing what I was walking into, knowing that I was walking into a situation with an army of industry experts, and they're calling me in. And here it was, in less than 30 minutes, everyone was like, they were like, "Can we buy you lunch?" I was like, "No, I have another meeting. I got to go." So
I can't tell you how many times we have heard that scenario. If just the client had gone with the
service provider.
exactly. You
Not
took
the
yes.
lowest bid, right?
Right?
Not the
Exactly,
lowest
exactly.
bid.
And I graciously reinforced that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. You weren't like,
did.
I told you so. I mean, in your
right,
mind, maybe.
no, but they're right, but there were so many people that had eyes on it, and it's really easy to miss something like that because we all rely on the industry expert of that specific thing, right?
Right.
Because we're all collaborating and we all play a role in these massive undertakings, right? So
Right.
I instantly, I ensured that they never went with my competitor again. I can tell you that. So,
Well, you
Well, and
provided
I
them a
think,
great service, right?
yes. And I think it's important to note too that you're willing to learn about your competitors' products to help your customer.
absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
that's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. You can be the best you can be just by paying attention.
Just by paying attention. Yes.
Yes.
And to taking ownership of what I'm actually tasked with doing, right? Like for this
Yes.
specific hotel brand, this is what they require. And
Right.
as someone that is specifying and selling building materials for hospitality, it is my job to
To
know and
know
be the
that.
expert, right?
Yep.
And also, if something doesn't look right from a price perspective, because I am competitive, I know I am, right? 'Cause
Right.
right.
You
Um,
know they're missing something.
Something's missing, right?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that, it was just one of those feel good moments,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and paying attention, right? Like just being present, paying attention, and taking ownership of what your role is in the grand scheme of things. So
Yes.
So, in our recent TEDx Clemson talk, we talk about Christi and I talk about the workforce and how we need a lot of people in construction, manufacturing, IT, all of it. And how do we get there? Well, we look at women, the other half of the population, right?
Yeah.
So, there are so many ways to break into construction, trade schools, universities, on the job training. How did you find your path to Kohler, and what advice would you give women exploring those options to land a role like yours, even in a field-based one?
So that's a great question. And, I do strongly advocate for more females in the trades whew, if I knew what I know now,
Oh yeah, for
this
sure.
late in my career, I would have been a mechanical contractor.
For sure.
I would have been going to trade school at 18 years old. That is for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have I think gotten away from the trades, right? And everything was, at least from my upbringing, it was focused on education and a degree. And my father built this amazing life for his family, making things with his hands and doing, doing harder work, right? Working and becoming skilled in his trade, and built this fabulous life that I got to benefit from. So I think that there is definitely a need for us to emphasize, the trades at a younger age,
Mhm.
right? And get
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
away from that. There has to be a degree on the wall for you to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, the wealthiest people I know
They do
are
not
not
have a degree.
they are not doctors and lawyers, right?
Yep.
That is not what they're doing. They are plumbers, they are electricians, they are mechanics, they are business owners, they're entrepreneurial, and they're building America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And some of them happen to be women.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is definitely a place for women here. Outside of the trades, I think of it from a building materials perspective, right? Like I work for a manufacturing company. I could bore you with all the different, areas
Opportunities.
and opportunities that exist, even within just my manufacturing company, right? And there are thousands of them out there. So, um, there's marketing. And from a marketing perspective, there's digital marketing, trade marketing, channel marketing, product marketing, category marketing. There's so many different marketing aspects, right?
Yes.
Businesses run on technology. So from a technology standpoint, there's all of the different CRM systems and quoting systems and digital platforms and training platforms that we all
Estimating.
leverage. Estimating, right? Of course, estimating, sales,
Yes.
forecasting,
Yes.
supply chain, demand planning, logistics, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it all is based on technology. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, there's a countless number of ways that you can make an impact in the construction industry. And
So
then
oh, go
the
ahead.
GCs, right? Yeah,
Yes.
like that is probably my favorite part of the whole construction and development side of
Yeah.
the world that I live in. That's such a cool job,
It is
right?
a cool
The
job.
general,
Yeah. Being the general contractor on the job,
yes.
being able to
So
oversee it, make sure it's done on time. I think that's cool too.
exactly, yes. So the plethora of opportunities.
Yeah.
I
So
I Go ahead.
I was going to say, what you're saying is, and what we really want our audience to hear, and what's important
Mhm.
to Trimble, sponsoring this podcast is there are so many opportunities beyond the job site. And I
Mhm.
Yes,
think for many, many, many years, we have only talked about when it comes to construction, we've only seen in magazines or seen on television that you're carrying a piece of lumber, or you got a back brace on because you're toting 10 faucets to the job site, or whatever that happens to be. We can explore many construction opportunities outside of the field.
yes, absolutely.
So when people think construction, they picture those job sites and machinery, and
Mhm.
it's so much more. There's office-based roles in sales and IT and accounting positions, which we all know. Um, what are surprising roles within Kohler, um, that you've seen, and what kind of education experience? And is it easy for people to step into them?
So just looking back on my how I accidentally kind of landed by choice later on in my career in this position at Kohler. Um, I didn't have an education. I didn't have industry expertise. I didn't have industry experience at all. But I had grit, I had desire, I had courage, and I had confidence in myself because I
Mhm.
joined this business later in life, right? I was about 38 when I started at Kohler. So when you look at all the different types of opportunities, just within like a company like mine, there are so many different interesting roles that I didn't even know were a thing, right? Like
Yes.
industrial engineering and new product development and design, right?
Yes.
Um, we have a team of people, a team of engineers that just test crazy, bold ideas, right? So someone comes up with an idea and is able to use our manufacturing capabilities to bring it to life. And then our engineers test it. Like, does it work? We have people that literally flush toilets, right? Like, to see how
Yes.
how many things can we get to
That's an
get it
interesting
to
job.
flush, right? Like, to test the strength of the flush engine, right? But, like,
Yeah. I mean, it's
there,
so important too.
it's so important, right? Like, everybody that has a toilet wants to make sure it flushes
It
well, right?
flushes, yes.
Exactly. That
Do
is
you
not,
have people that sit on them too, just
I
to
mean,
test them
yes,
out?
yes.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, that is
That's
one of the
hilarious.
things there, Instagram and social media is, it's fun, right? So
Yeah.
there are celebrities that are obsessed with some of our intelligent toilets, right? And
Yeah.
literally they just they post about like these really smart toilets. And you go to showrooms all across the country and you see people sitting on our Numi 2.0 toilet, right? It's an amazing toilet. It doesn't look like a toilet. It's kind of robotish, if you ask me, right? But it has so many features and benefits. And like, people are putting like radiant heating in toilets so that your feet don't get cold when you're sitting on a toilet. That is someone's job to think of these creative, bold things, right?
I like that.
Interesting. I do
Right?
like that too. We wouldn't have to have those rugs.
Right, exactly. The ones that never stay in place and
Right.
always look bad, right?
Mhm.
So there's that. And then, from a really interesting and innovative perspective, like sustainability, right? This is a topic that is relative to all of us, right?
Right.
How do we become more environmentally conscious, and how
Yes.
are we harnessing the power of recycled materials and energy efficiency and using less water to do more things, right? And making sure that we're protecting the earth and leaving it a better place than we found it. That is all at the core value of our organization. It has always been
Nice.
part of our corporate ethos. And so we have people that get to do really cool things at Kohler, like
Absolutely.
take the scraps from toilets that maybe didn't meet our strict quality standards, because in order to get a Kohler stamp on it, it needs to surpass our industry, our quality expectations. And so what do we do with all that scrap? So we started taking some of that scrap from, our ceramics and our pottery business. And we have a decorative tile company called Ann Sachs. So we started making beautiful tile out of
Nice.
some of that waste. And there are all different types of roles within our
Yes.
own organization on how can we be better? How can we
Right.
take this and save it from going into a landfill and create something beautiful with it, and something
Yes.
recycled with it. And so there's all those types of fun jobs. So just looking at it through the very small lens of my own organization and the vast breadth of opportunity across various other organizations, like there's so many ways that other people and young women can bring a creative flair to the construction industry.
Wow, you just mentioned so many
Yes, so many
different,
jobs.
I mean, that we don't even think about or talk about it much, and I love Anzac Tile, by the way. If y'all haven't checked it out, you
Oh,
need
So
yeah,
do
to.
it's
I.
pretty.
But anyways,
Very pretty.
we're gonna talk now about mentorship and allyship and networking and how important it is. Christy and I talk about this a lot. But mentorship, allyship, and networking are huge. And you've mentioned mentors shaping your path at Kohler. Let's go deeper. How have these relationships helped you as a woman in construction? And what can women do to find mentors and build networks online or through programs that lift each other up?
So this one is critical for me, and this
For
one
all of
is
us, right?
for all of
Absolutely.
us. And
Yes.
Yeah.
it is such a I'm so passionate about this topic. And
Mhm.
a lot of that is because, you know, 8.5 years ago when I started in this industry, I needed that. And I didn't have a lot of internal representation of other women that looked like me and thought like me and
Mhm.
did what I do, right? So I became heavily invested in making sure that I grew my network. And if Christi and Angela had existed 8.5 years ago, it would have been it probably would have been different. So I think, you know, social media like LinkedIn, industry networking events, you know, just putting yourself out there to reach out, to ask for help, to lean into people that you see on social media that are doing things that are similar, you know, that demonstrate that they're like-minded is critical.
Yes.
For me, I have to give a shout out to one of my dearest mentors and inspirational people, and I'm lucky that I get to work with her. Her name is Marla Krippendorf, and she is the senior channel marketing manager for our builder and multifamily divisions at Kohler. And she and I both got promoted at the same time, and it was during COVID, and we were on a travel ban, and we were responsible for new jobs, new territories, and we weren't allowed to travel. So we were on behind the computer screen all day, right? And we were constantly in meetings. And as new leaders, until I got promoted, she was the only female in a sea of men, right? And so it became challenging in a new role, remote, disconnected, to really find someone that could help elevate her different perspective, or give her the confidence to feel, you know, that her voice mattered and her perspective mattered, and maybe she should raise her hand and say that and challenge that thought or that idea. And then I came into the mix, and literally the first meeting we were in together, she texted me immediately and said, "Oh my God, it's so great to see a female face. Can we please talk after this?" Right? And we bonded and helped, you know, mentor and guide and inspire and troubleshoot in a way that, you know, we will be lifelong friends, right? And then we started advocating to do that more, and we took that on. And I think that is what platforms like this have really helped elevate over the last couple of years. The world looks a lot different where I'm sitting 8.5 years from where I started. And that's because of women like Christi and Angela, and what you guys are doing.
And you, yeah.
And me and Marla Krippendorf.
And Marla, yes. And so many others.
And so many others. And we need to do more of this.
We do. So tell me quickly, because sadly we are running out of time.
Yes.
Tell me 3 things quickly that excites you about the construction future.
Number 1, we talk about like job security and demand. Like, ladies out there, we need 1 million people to join our industry. There is demand for you here. Second,
and it's
technology. Job security, right? And we're thriving. We're doing so well.
Yes.
We're doing so well. Come join us. Technology, right? It's mind-blowing to see what technology is doing for our industry, and what AI is doing. So AI excites me. It does. I'm not afraid of it, because at the end of the day, when you're really good at what you do and you have the right relationships with your customers and you're managing your business, AI can't take that relationship away.
No.
It
just
can
gives
only
us
enhance
more
what you're
tools.
doing.
More tools and resources.
Yes. So that part excites me. And then this network that we're building, right? Like, the strength and the partnership and the power of these amazing females in our industry doing incredible things. Like, that excites me. The world that we live in today in the construction industry looks completely different. I now go into meetings with the largest developers in America, and at least 40 to 50% of those decision makers are women.
Oh, that's awesome.
They are making the decisions. They are leading the charge. They
It's
are
exciting.
thriving. It's exciting. It is completely different than just 8.5 years ago. So imagine what the world's going to look like 8.5 years from now. So that's exciting for me.
Okay. Thank you so much. What an incredible time chatting with Giovanna from Kohler. And we made it even better with Trimble as our sponsor, and being able to talk about technology and where we're going with the technology and how excited we are about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it aligns perfectly with empowering women in construction every day. And we are stronger together. Angela and I are blown away by Giovanna's insights, showing that whether you're in the field or the office, this industry is yours to conquer. If you're a woman dreaming of a career that builds the world, let Giovanna's journey and our Trimble partnership inspire you to take that first step. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more stories on how to lift up women in the construction industry. Thank you both, Angela, Giovanna, for being here today, and we're so excited to see what the future holds.
Same here. Thank you for having me, ladies.